I'm Aaron Kessler, 36 years old, the youngest son in a family that measures worth by power, silence, and how well you disappear when you're inconvenient. I grew up in Portland surrounded by successful siblings, expensive dinners, and conversations where my name was mentioned last, if at all. While my brother became a celebrated attorney and my family's unofficial shield, I stayed in the background, crunching numbers as a forensic accountant, fixing problems quietly and never asking for credit. I learned early that being useful was safer than being seen, but it also meant living like an outsider inside my own life. I married Elena because she made me feel chosen, not tolerated, until the night I realized even that might have been an illusion. Because just hours before everything collapsed, a bank called to tell me my wife was standing in their lobby with a man who looked exactly like me. The rain was violent. Not falling, slashing. I stared at my phone screen. Incoming call, Bank of Oregon Fraud Department. I almost let it ring out. I wish I had. Mr. Kessler, the voice said, tight, careful. Are you currently on premises? No. I'm home, I replied, already standing. There was a pause. Because someone claiming to be you is accessing your joint account with your wife. I stopped breathing. Elena? My voice cracked. She's in San Francisco. Silence. Sir, the voice said. We suggest you come in. Immediately. Click. My jacket was drenched before I even hit the car. The rain followed me, needling through the windshield as I sped through red lights downtown. 10:57 p.m. My mind jumped to the last time I'd seen her, 4 days ago. Carry on. Neutral heels. That offhand kiss near the elevator, like she was already gone. She said she'd text from the hotel. She hadn't. I convinced myself it was a client dinner. She hated small talk, always called me late instead. I glanced at my phone again. Still nothing. The branch lights glowed like a morgue. Dim, cold. Security met me at the glass doors, eyes sharp, one hand already near his radio. Mr. Kessler? He scanned my face like he expected me to peel it off. I nodded once. He led me in without another word, down a corridor that smelled like coffee grounds and new carpet. To a side room. A screen already waiting. The woman behind the desk barely looked up. We flagged activity after the joint vault was accessed. Biometric match. Security footage attached. Click. The video played. My heart stopped. A man stood next to Elena. Same height. Same frame. Same silver wedding band. His hand rested on her back like it belonged there. He laughed. I leaned closer. My laugh. He moved. Something about the way he rotated his shoulder. Can you zoom in? The woman adjusted the feed. The man leaned in, whispered something into Elena's ear. She smiled. They walked toward the vault. The keypad required dual entry. He entered my code. She entered hers. Vault open. Timestamp, 8:13 p.m. He accessed the deposit box. The banker nodded. And removed a sealed envelope. I swallowed. That envelope held copies of sensitive documents I'd kept from a past investigation. Stuff that could ruin her job. Maybe more. She knew that. She knew. What about his ID? The banker pulled up a scan. Oregon license. My name. My photo. But something was off. Slight pixelation around the eyes. Almost perfect. Sir, she said slowly. The man passed fingerprint verification. That's not possible. She didn't answer. I stepped back. Mind spinning. He's not just impersonating me. He is me. Driving home was a blur of headlights and sleet. I killed the engine but didn't move. My phone buzzed again. A receipt. Dinner for two. 2 nights ago. Elena's name. Local restaurant. I was in Tacoma. I opened the door to my house. Everything in place. Almost. My laptop screen blinked. Logged in. Recent access, 14 minutes ago. Someone had been here. I moved room to room. Nothing disturbed. Then my security app chirped, motion detected, garage. I turned. Grabbed the flashlight. Creaked open the basement door. The light flickered. Steps. A shadow moved just out of reach. A thud, something dropped. I rushed forward, too late. Back door open. Rain blown in. Whoever it was had vanished into the dark. I looked down. It was my passport. But the face wasn't mine. Rain beat against the windows like fists. Inside, everything was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that meant something had already happened. You just hadn't found it yet. I held the passport up to the light. Name, Aaron Kessler. DOB, accurate. Photo, not mine. Not exactly. It was like looking in a distorted mirror. Same jawline. Same hairline. But colder eyes. Like someone who'd memorized how to look like me, but not feel like me. People don't just copy you. They study you. Learn the pauses between your words. The hesitation in your breath when you're about to lie. I turned on every light in the house. Checked every drawer. Nothing missing. No signs of forced entry. But I knew better. The absence of chaos is the evidence. Someone had been in my space. Someone who wanted me to know it. I called B. Beatrice Salcedo hadn't changed. Same voice, sharp as broken glass. If they got into your system, I'll find it. She was 5 years out of the cybersecurity task force, but never lost the edge. We met once on a case, tangled up in each other, then drifted apart like good mistakes do. 10 minutes later, she was at my door. Hoodie. Black bag. No makeup. She didn't ask permission to come in. You smell like fear and burnt coffee, she said, booting up her gear. Which means we're in deep. She tapped into my home server, eyes locked on the code flashing past. Someone piggybacked your login. They tunneled in through a dummy update. 2 hours ago. What did they take? BA's face went still. Not take. Clone. They mirrored your profile and rerouted it through 2 servers in Nevada and 1 in Estonia. That's military-grade spoofing. My chest tightened. So what does that mean? B looked at me hard. It means there's 2 of you now. And one of you is operating in the wild. We reviewed the footage again. B froze the video at frame 112. The imposter blinked with his left eye first. I do that when I'm thinking. Next frame, he adjusted his cufflink with his pinky. That wasn't an accident. That was rehearsed. B whispered, he's not impersonating you. He's performing you. The screen flickered. Elena's smile isn't fake, I said quietly. She knows exactly what he is. She's in on it? I didn't answer. I couldn't. Part of me still hoped for a more tragic explanation. But hope is a dangerous lens, it blurs the obvious. B found the metadata. Encrypted packet accessed remotely through your device, 3 weeks ago, she said. It held scanned copies of tax returns, your signature key, bank access codes, personal notes, stuff no one should have accepted. Elena, I said. B leaned back. You ever read the fine print in your marriage? Not recently. Well, someone did. I grabbed my keys. B stopped me. You don't even know where to go. I looked at her. Then helped me find out. She exhaled hard, like lighting a fuse. Okay. Then we're going to the bank. But not just to watch tapes. We arrived just after midnight. The manager from earlier, a woman named Reese, met us at the back entrance. "You're not the only one they're watching," she whispered. She led us into the security room again. Only this time, she brought more. "Fingerprint logs from the vault," she said. "Dual entry required. We use biometrics and passphrase." She showed me the entry history. 2 names. Aaron Kessler. Elena Kessler. Timestamp, 8:13 p.m. Verification, passed. "That can't happen," I said. "You can't just spoof fingerprints." B leaned in. "Unless someone lifted your print and applied a thin-film synthetic replica. Those are supposed to be illegal." Reese looked pale. "It passed 2-factor bioauthentication. We had no reason to flag it until you called." BEA's fingers danced across the screen. Then she stopped. "What?" I asked. "There's another flag," she said. "They accessed your safe deposit box. The one under the trust name." My heart sank. The trust was a backup identity structure. Legal, private, tied to a limited company in Wyoming. Almost no one knew about it. Not even Rowan. Except Elena. Inside that box had been an envelope. One I sealed 5 years ago. Inside, whistleblower files, proof of internal fraud at Elena's firm, forged expense reports, things that could put someone in federal prison. I sealed it because she begged me to. "One day, I'll need to protect us," she said. Apparently, us expired. Back home, I poured whiskey. Didn't drink it. My laptop chimed. New email. No sender. Just a subject line. "Don't look for what you already lost." Attachment, a still shot of the vault camera. Elena. The imposter. Her hand on his chest. "Someone is stripping my identity like paint. And they're better at being me than I ever was. That's not just someone who looks like me. That's someone who knows how to be me." Morning came without relief. Just a thinner shade of dark. B drove. I watched the city slide past the windshield, Portland waking up like nothing was wrong. Joggers. Coffee lines. A billboard promising security you can trust. I laughed once. It came out wrong. Rule 1, B said, eyes forward. When someone wants to replace you, they don't start with your face. They start with your data. Cut. Her laptop was open between us. Red flags stacked like warning flares. "Credit bureau shows dual profiles," she continued. "Same SSN. Different endpoints. That takes inside access. Bank. Bank. Medical. DMV, and a private broker I don't like." She tapped the screen. "Someone's paying to keep the trail legal." Cut. We parked 2 blocks from a downtown hotel, clean lines, glass facade, valet stand. Nothing suspicious. That was the point. "How do we get in?" I asked. B zipped her jacket. "We don't break laws. We use them." Cut. Front desk. Smiles. Bad music. B leaned in and spoke softly. "We're here on behalf of the property insurer. Routine inspection. Fire suppression compliance." The clerk hesitated. B slid a laminated badge across the counter, convincing, not fraudulent. She'd worked with insurers before. The clerk nodded, typed, printed a temporary access slip. "Suite 1407, he said. "Please don't disturb the guest." Cut. Elevator. Mirror. My reflection fractured by fluorescent light. I touched my cheek. Solid. Still me. "People think identity is skin deep," B said. "It's not. It's a pattern. Patterns can be copied. I swallowed. And erased. She didn't argue. Cut. The hallway smelled like detergent and money. 1407, the door opened with a soft click. Inside, neat. Clinical. A desk facing the window. A whiteboard. A tripod. Camera. Lights. Notes pinned with surgical precision. And the wall. Photos of me. Walking. Sleeping. Buying groceries. Talking on the phone. Dates. Times. Locations. Schedules. My schedules. A cup on the desk. Coffee ring. Lipstick? No. Not lipstick. A smudge where someone had tested color. Mimicry. I breathed through my nose. Short. Shallow. B whispered, they built a behavioral twin. Cut. She scanned the room. Microfibers. DNA collection. Nothing illegal on its own. Together? Obsession. I reached for the whiteboard. Written in block letters, hesitation before lies. Under it, left thumb. I clenched my hand. Cut. The phone on the nightstand vibrated. Unknown number. B nodded. I answered. Breathing. Heavy. Close. Then a voice, filtered, calm. You're early. Who is this? I said. A smile in the sound. You know who I am. Or you would, if you'd been paying attention. Click. Cut. BEA's screen pinged. Microtransaction trail, she said. Hotel paid through an LLC, K.S. Lura. Anagram, I said. Of your name. Cut. A knock. We froze. Housekeeping cart rattled by. Distraction. Relief. Then. BEA's phone chimed again. Video file. Fresh upload. She opened it. Elena filled the screen. Standing in the hotel hallway. Same jacket she wore the day she left. Same hair. Same calm. She looked into the camera and spoke like she was explaining a budget variance. The key is timing, she said. He pauses before he lies. That's when you move. My stomach dropped. B didn't look at me. This is coaching. Elena's eyes flicked off camera. No. Don't rush it. He'll notice. Cut. The video ended. I backed into the wall. She's not. Don't, B said. Not yet. Cut. Sirens outside. Distant. Then closer. Someone shouting. A door slammed somewhere down the hall. B pulled me toward the bathroom. We didn't file anything. But someone else did. What? Mandatory suspicious activity reports get triggered when someone touches the wrong node. She killed the lights. We're leaving. Cut. Stairwell. Footsteps above us. Below us. Breathing loud in my ears. We hit the lobby through a side exit. Glass doors. Cameras. The valet stared. Walk, B said. Don't run. We walked. Cut. In the car, B punched the wheel once. They're watching the watchers. My phone buzzed. Text message. From Elena. Stop chasing. This ends badly. I typed back. Tell me where you are. Read receipt. No reply. Cut. B drove toward the river. There's more, she said. Your medical records, someone accessed biometric archives. Old scans. Pre-op imaging. For what? To build credibility, she said. When the system asks who you are, they don't argue. They present evidence. I stared at the water. Gray. Moving fast. People say the truth sets you free, I said. What they don't tell you is it also makes you a target. B nodded. Another one, power doesn't announce itself. It replaces you quietly. Cut. A final alert popped on her screen. CCTV pull from the hotel. Timestamp from last week. Elena entering the suite. Once. Twice. 4 times. She wasn't being followed. She wasn't forced. She was rehearsing. I closed my eyes. The car slowed at a red light. Someone in the crosswalk looked at me too long. I felt it then. The weight. The certainty. She wasn't being taken from me. She was giving me away. The address Betrayal didn't exist on Google Maps. A county road. Trees packed tight. No streetlights. An abandoned medical research facility, condemned 10 years ago. Officially. We parked with the engine running. Places like this don't die, B said. They hibernate. I checked my phone. No signal. Of course. Cut. The building squatted behind a rusted gate, concrete stained like old bruises. Windows blacked out. Wind threading through broken fencing, whistling like breath through teeth. People think control looks like noise, B muttered. It doesn't. It looks like silence. We slipped inside through a side door she jimmied with a borrowed badge and a practice twist. Air hit me first. Chemical. Sweet and metallic. Lights flickered on automatically. Motion triggered. Cut. Rows of medical chairs. Restraints still attached. Old biometric scanners bolted to steel arms. Fingerprint plates. Retinal cameras. And screens. Dozens of them. They came alive at once. My face filled the room. Not live. Recorded. Different angles. Different days. Walking. Sitting. Speaking. Pausing. Failing. Be swallowed. This isn't identity theft. It's identity manufacturing, I said. Cut. One screen zoomed in. The man. My double. Standing where I stood now, months earlier. Practicing. A woman's voice guided him. Elena, I said before I heard her clearly. On screen, she circled him like a director. No, she said calmly. Don't answer right away. Aaron hesitates when he's lying. That's how people trust him. The double nodded. Copied the pause. My chest tightened. Not heartbreak. Something colder. Like dissection. Cut. B moved fast, pulling files. This place ran off a defunct federal grant. Behavioral replication. Shut down after ethical concerns. I laughed once. Sharp. Ethics always show up after the damage. Cut. A new screen activated. Live feed. Elena appeared. Not older. Not scared. Composed. Aaron, she said softly. I hoped you'd find this room. You always did like answers. Where are you? I snapped. She smiled, the way you do when you know something the other person doesn't. Safe. For now. B whispered, this is a broadcast. One way. Elena tilted her head. You were never meant to be erased. You were meant to be improved. The lights dimmed. A hiss. BA's eyes widened. That's not audio. Gas vented from the ceiling. Thin. White. Odorless at first. Move, B said. Cut. We ran. Emergency lights flashed red. Doors slammed shut ahead of us. Behind us. A lockdown sequence. Too clean to be abandoned. Someone triggered this remotely, B yelled. They're flushing the site. My lungs burned. The gas sharpened. Sweet turned sour. I remembered something an old mentor once told me: power doesn't crush you. It convinces you to lie down. Not today. Cut. B found a service hatch behind a curtain of wires. Maintenance tunnel, she coughed. Crawl. We dropped to our knees. Metal scraped skin. My breath came in short, panic bursts. I could hear it then. A low hum. Timers. Escalation. You ever notice, I gasped, how the people who design cages never plan to sit in them? B laughed, breathless. That's because fear is outsourced. Cut. The tunnel shook. An explosion rolled through the building behind us. Dust punched the air. Heat kissed my back. We burst out into the trees, choking, lungs screaming. Night swallowed us whole. Cut. We collapsed by the car. I checked my phone again. 1 bar. Then a call. Unknown number. I answered. My brother's voice filled my ear. Stop digging, Rowan said. Calm. Controlled. The voice that used to end arguments at family dinners. You knew, I said. A pause. The kind that weighs. I knew enough, he replied. And you're chasing the wrong villain. Elena's running a replication lab, I said. She's coaching my replacement. Rowan exhaled. Elena isn't the one you should be afraid of. The line went dead. Cut. Sirens in the distance. Fire crews converging on the facility. Official. Too fast. B wiped blood from her lip. Your family has reach. I stared at the burning building through the trees. Screens melting. Evidence erased. Answers turning to smoke. They always said I was the weakest, I murmured. The one who wouldn't fight. B met my eyes. Weak people don't survive this long. I thought of Elena's voice. Calm. Certain. I thought of Rowan's warning. People love to say the truth is simple. It's not. It's layered. Weaponized. Sold in pieces. I slid into the driver's seat. Hand steady now. If Elena's not the enemy, then who the hell have I been running from? Night shifted before we did. The storm rolled clouds tight against the sky like something trying to suffocate the stars. Thunder overhead. Lightning cracked open the world. B and I drove toward the edge of the city, past street lamps that blinked like tired eyes. I thought about Rowan's voice, cold and measured on that abandoned server line. You're chasing the wrong villain. What did he mean? We pulled up to the Kessler estate, my family estate. Big, old, stately, like a chest of gold someone forgot to lock. Now it looked like a mausoleum watching me approach. B didn't like it. Blood isn't always thicker than digital ink, she said, her tone low. I didn't like the broken silence between us, but I parked anyway. The front door opened before I touched it. Rowan stood there. Perfectly calm. Tailored suit. Shirt collar crisp. You brought company, he noted without warmth. I didn't answer. He stepped aside. The house smelled like polished wood and old secrets. A servant's home with a hollow heart. Rowan led us to the library. Leather chairs. A single lamp. Shadows dancing between books. Why shelter this? I said, pointing at the photo of our parents, their faces smiling from a simpler time. Because family is complicated, he said. A shrug. Sometimes we bend the law to keep order. Order? I breathed. You told me to stop digging. He met my eyes. Because you were digging in the wrong place. Then he offered coffee with black. B refused. I took it. Tell me what you know, I said. Rowan exhaled. Even his sigh carried weight. You think this started with Elena, he said. It didn't. He pulled out a tablet. A file. Small. Encrypted. Your identity was targeted long before the hotel, he said. You have a private trust account. I funded a project, biometric replication research. Aaron, you were perfect, predictable, stable. I didn't flinch. I just listened. A lab that learned behavior, he continued. Not just the face, Aaron, pattern recognition. Emotional cadence. Pupillary shift. My coffee grew cold. He didn't blink. You were never meant to be erased, Rowan said. You were meant to be replaced. Cut. My heart kicked like a fist against ribs. Why? I whispered. Rowan didn't answer immediately. You always hid from conflict, he said finally. You were the son who never stood up, never fought. I thought if we could write a better version of you, we'd secure the legacy. Legacy. Like a poison. BEA's phone buzzed. She showed me the screen. Location ping, security breach. Front gate. 2 armed figures were moving up the driveway. I could hear them before I saw them, a crunch on gravel, disciplined steps. Not random. Not opportunistic. Something new. Something professional. I reached for my gun, old, legal carry, familiar weight. Rowan froze. They told me it was secure, he said. I was wrong. The heavy oak door swung inward. Mason. Not staged. Not hesitant. He stepped in like he owned the space. Elena behind him. My breath stuck. Elena's eyes were sharp. Not fear. Not guilt. Intent. She looked at me, slow. Calm. You finally showed up, she said. B stepped in front of me. Elena, I began. She cut me off. Before you decide something you can't undo, she said, look at this. She raised her hand. Not a weapon. A phone. Playback started. A video. It wasn't recorded at the hotel. It was recorded weeks ago, in this house. Rowan, standing over me while I slept. He whispered into my ear. Something about a better future. Elena didn't appear in the clip. Only Rowan and someone else, a silhouette I recognized too late. B. B turned. Eyes wide. Not angry. Slow. Calculating. Surprised, she asked. Everything clicked. She wasn't helping. She was observing. Mapping. Waiting. You brought us to the truth, she said softly. But truth is heavier than most can carry. I stared at B. At Rowan. At Elena. 3 faces. All familiar. None trustworthy. Elena stepped closer. Your replacement was never meant to live outside the plan, she said. But you. She paused, eyes on mine, a twist in her smile I'd never seen before. You see shadows where there are none. I breathed out. Slow. Then slow again. Because I realized something. They were right here. All of them. And they wanted one thing. Control. Not just of my identity. Of my choices. Of my reality. I stepped back. My instincts bled into action. Cut. Be moved. Fast. Mason didn't flinch. Rowan winced. Elena's gaze sharpened like a blade. Gun drawn. Shots fired. Glass shattered. Chaos. Someone screamed. Then silence, followed by, "You took my face, my name, my life. Tonight, I take it all back." The road was a ribbon of black. Rain etched the pavement. Every heartbeat drummed like an alarm. I drove without talking. Be beside me, silent, eyes flicking to every shadow. The lighthouse was at the edge of the world, or at least it felt that way at midnight, waves pounding like war drums against rugged rocks. Elena said something once, B said low, staring forward. Reality is just perception with a louder voice. I hadn't forgotten it. Not tonight. Cut. We pulled into the gravel lot. Wind bit through the car. The lighthouse stood tall, whitewashed and battered. A beacon turned off. Cold metal against a storm-bent sky. Elena's last ping was here, B said. Before she went dark. The ground felt unstable. Not just wet. Something deeper. Like the earth knew what was coming. Cut. I pulled the gun from my waistband. Light frame. Legal carry. Not enough. But more than nothing. Stay close, I told B. Voice uneven. Sharp. Steps crunched. Closer than expected. Then a figure emerged. Mason. Not shadow. Not ambiguous. Mason stepped from behind a jagged boulder, rain plastering his hair, clothes soaked to skin. No hesitation. No fear. Nice night for confessions, he said. B didn't flinch. You're outnumbered. He smiled like it amused him. Not fear. Not worry. Curiosity. That's cute, he said. Cut. Before I could breathe, the bushes stirred. Not one person. Multiple. Voices low. Tactical. FBI. Drop your weapon. Blue and red slashed through the rain. BEA's phone lit up. Location pinged, illegal activity detected. A siren wailed from the direction of the road behind us. Mason turned, eyes cold. They want all of it. He pointed to the lighthouse. Cut. Shots rang. Not close. Too close. I hit the ground. Heart slamming. B dove beside me. The night erupted. FBI agents fanned out, shouted commands drenched in authority. Mason raised his hands, unnervingly calm. Elena. She walked out from behind the nearest boulder. Hair plastered. Face pale but steady. Drop it, she said. Not to Mason. To me. 3 voices. 3 threats. 1 equation. B whispered, this isn't containment. It's negotiation. I forced myself up. Gun in hand. Rain washing over the barrel. Elena, I said. Voice ragged. Why here? Her eyes reflected the flashing lights. You never understood, she said. Not angry. Not resigned. Detached. Control isn't taken. It's agreed. A beat. No one asked you. Cut. A young FBI tech stepped forward, handheld device scanning the waves. Elena Kessler, he said. You're under order of arrest. She didn't flinch. But the storm did. Lightning cracked, sharp white against black. Cut. BEA's phone buzzed. A new alert. Encrypted file from Elena's email. I opened it. A single line. Truth is a mirror. Break it enough, and you see everyone. Then images. Not of me. Not of Mason. But of the facility, the replication lab. Blueprints. Contracts. Federal oversight forms. Judge Rowan's signature. My breath caught. Elena, I whispered. This involves Rowan. Her lips twitched, almost guilt, almost amusement. He gave us the frame, she said. You gave him the shape. BA's eyes narrowed. He used both of you, she said, to bury something bigger. Cut. The water crashed against rocks below. FBI agents readied. A helicopter's spotlight cut through rain. Elena raised her hands. I did too. Not surrender. Exposure. Justice. Not revenge. B stepped forward. You're gonna talk, she said, eyes locked on Elena. Everything. There was a flicker, human. Not villain. Not monster. Just a person with too many colliding motives. The breeze gusted. Cold. Hungry. We thought we were solving something, Elena said. Her voice cracked once. Just once. We were just scared of the truth. Cut. Agents cuffed her. Mason was led away. In handcuffs, silent, almost ghost-like. B exhaled slowly. Chaos is just truth waiting to be unpacked, she said. We stood there, lighthouse, rain, thunder, sirens, folding into one another like giants collapsing. Cut. I watched them load evidence into trucks. Blue tarps. Flashing cameras. News crews already murmuring in the distance. Identity theft. Extensive conspiracy. Government research misuse. They called it headlines. I called it reality. B placed a hand on my shoulder. They'll write it as a story, she said. You write it as life. I thought of something else Elena once said before all this began. Everything is negotiable. But that wasn't true. Some things are immutable. Truth. Conscience. Self. Cut. I walked toward the lighthouse steps. Rain falling harder now. I looked up. Broken glass gleamed like shattered futures. No light. Only storm. I breathed in. Deep. Then again, steady. Because survival isn't holding on. It's letting go. Rows of reporters, cameras, questions, the weight of every eye on me. But I didn't answer them. Not yet. Instead, I spoke into the wind. Identity isn't what they take, I said. My voice calm. Resolute. It's what you reclaim. Cut. Lightning hit the lighthouse. White. Explosive. Then darkness. Then dawn, just beginning.